Hey everyone, welcome to another Energon Universe discussion video. This time, we're talking Cobra Commander issue number 2, released on February 21st, 2024. I think it's fair to say that the first issue was a bit of a surprise, with the creative team leaning heavily into controversial G.I. Joe lore in the form of cobra-la. We also saw Megatron imprisoned in cobra-la, so naturally, I was curious to see what shape the series would take moving forward in the wake of those reveals. With Cobra Commander out in the world chasing down Energon, it seemed logical that the stuff with cobra-la and Megatron might take a back seat to the more immediate plot concerns, and that mostly happens, but not completely, as we'll get to later. This issue primarily follows Cobra Commander and his mysterious traveling companion as they reach their destination in the Everglades, following the signal from their Energon tracker. This issue gives us some more information about the man sent along to aid Cobra Commander, as well as building up the increasingly strained and antagonistic dynamic between the two characters. Cobra-la is not completely absent in this issue, appearing as in issue number 1 in flashback form, but this time from the first-person perspective of the man dispatched with Cobra Commander. We learn that this character underwent cosmetic surgery in Cobra-la to modify his appearance to better blend in with the surface world. And I'm guessing it was a fairly unpleasant procedure, considering Pythona shoves this starfish-looking thing with crazy tentacles and sharp teeth in his face, but it was a procedure that the man was nonetheless apparently willing to undergo, with his loyalty to cobra-la seemingly paramount, no matter the personal toll. I saw some of you put forth some ideas for this guy's identity, from Grunt to Zartan, and while I think there are some cool ideas and stories that could be realized there, I'm not fully convinced that this character is anyone but the nemesis enforcer from cobra-la. I'm not opposed to his identity being a surprising choice out of left field, mind you. And who knows, maybe this is a mislead and Williamson wants me to think this is Nemesis Enforcer when it's really going to go in a more surprising direction. But the loyalty on display here and the fact that Pythona refers to him as an old friend really reminds me of how he was depicted in the 1987 film as the faithful servant to both Pythona and Globulus. And then there's the man's size as well as sheer strength and brutality, which is highlighted in a sequence where Cobra Commander and his protector are confronted by a lone officer in the Everglades. And apart from showing the air of superiority that both villains feel, that they are above humans and are not bound to their laws, despite Cobra Commander being a human himself, this also shows how deadly the mystery man from cobra-la is. Apparently being impervious to bullets and strong enough to turn the officer's head into pulp with a single headbutt, while simultaneously tearing off both of his arms. What is it with Skybound and tearing off arms anyway? Is this starting to turn into a thing? Anyway, this guy is huge and insanely powerful, which to me makes Nemesis Enforcer seem more likely. I don't think we'll have to wait long to find out, as on the cover to issue 4 we see a winged silhouette, which makes it seem like the Enforcer will make an appearance one way or another. The Dreadnoks make their first Energon appearance here in this issue, or at least 3 of them do: Buzzer, Ripper, and Zarana. The Dreadnoks are a group of mercenaries in G.I. Joe fiction, frequently led by Zartan and typically allied with Cobra. The group started off with an aesthetic akin to a biker gang before veering fully into neon Mad Max territory as more and more members were introduced. Zartan was teased at the end of issue number 24 of the original Marvel series, then fully introduced in number 25 alongside fellow Dreadnoks Buzzer, Ripper, and Torch. Similar to the Marvel continuity, the Energon Universe Dreadnoks have set up their criminal enterprise in the Everglades, but the overall setting comes across as being much creepier than the earlier incarnation. The Dreadnoks lead us to the bulk of the classic G.I. Joe references in this issue. The most obvious is the Thunder Machine, one of the Dreadnoks' more formidable vehicles that appeared in the 1986 toy line. Ripper is seen eating a donut, and Buzzer is carrying some sort of bottled beverage. Could be grape soda, which would make sense, as grape soda and donuts are staples of the Dreadnok diet as portrayed in classic fiction. Lastly, Zarana calls Ripper and Buzzer off of Cobra Commander's trail for a family meeting, which might be intended to be a bit of a double entendre, on the one hand meaning the larger criminal family of the Dreadnoks, as well as the familial bonds between Zarana and her brothers Zartan and Xandar. Cobra Commander, separated from his cobra-la bodyguard, finds himself pitted against Ripper and Buzzer in a brief but effective confrontation where he manages to take out the Thunder Machine with a well-thrown grenade. What led Cobra Commander to the Dreadnok's doorstep was Energon. And this was the most interesting facet of this issue, in my opinion. Apparently, the Dreadnoks are making use of Energon, although to what extent and in what capacity is not made clear. And the source of the mercenaries' supply comes from further into the swamp, an area that's off limits even to the Dreadnoks. And that leads us to the big reveal here. In this beautiful cinematic splash page of Cobra Commander sinking into deep water, we see further down on the page that there's a pinkish purple glow emanating from the swamp floor and several alligators swirling, perhaps protectively, around what seems likely to be Energon. The real kicker here, though, is that the alligators' eyes are glowing the same pinkish purple, suggesting that they've been changed somehow by Energon exposure. And they also seem pretty spiky to me anyway. I don't think that's normal, but what do I know? The glowing trail following one of the alligator's eyes is a nice touch, emphasizing a sense of gliding movement through the dark swamp water, as well as just creating a downright eerie visual. These Energators might just prove Cobra Commander's assertion that Energon is transformative in a sense beyond the technological, and that could end up being a huge deal moving forward in this continuity. In the Transformers number 5 video, I commented that Wheeljack and his turbine, and ultimately Cybertronian technology in general, had the potential to completely alter human civilization, offering much more effective energy technologies but also deadly new weapons. But this issue takes that idea even further, showing that Energon just might have the potential to fundamentally reshape all life on Earth. We'll have to see where Skybound takes this, but I'm starting to wonder if there's merit to the theories out there about the citizens of Cobra-la becoming mutated by Energon. What if, for example, Nemesis Enforcer doesn't have his signature wings just yet, but will acquire them during the course of this series after being exposed to Energon? I don't know. What I do know, however, is that I appreciate the place this title is occupying in the Energon universe. Transformers is blazing action-packed nostalgia. Duke is a slow-burning espionage thriller. Void Rivals is an epic space opera that somehow manages to be even more slow-burning than Duke. And Cobra Commander is just pure oddball action fun with a little bit of horror mixed in. And I'm looking forward to seeing where this is all headed. Cobra Commander getting his hands on some Energon is sure to lead to some surprises. And this issue is setting the stage for future confrontations with the Dreadnoks, as well as a potential collision with Mars Industries, as it seems possible, based on the description of the arms dealer as a dude with a flat top, that the Gunrunners were set to meet with Mercer, considering he's the guy with the flattest top of any flat top we've seen so far. On a much smaller scale, we might be nearing the end of the homage to Cobra Commander's old snake guys from Only Human as well, since it seems likely he's about to lose his hat and maybe suffer some damage to his coat in the swamp. Might be going back to that classic look with the helmet sooner rather than later. But that's all from me on Cobra Commander number 2. Solid issue, but definitely feels like setup for more substantial events down the line. But what did you think? Any fans of the Dreadnoks out there? How about the twist with the alligators and the Energon at the end? Leave me a comment with your thoughts, hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already to stay on top of my videos as they're released. As always, thank you for watching, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.